How's it going, super friends? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Brad, the DCUGeek, for those of you who may be new here, and today I'd like to share with you my review of Superman, Man of Tomorrow. It's Warner Brothers' latest Superman flick from Warner Brothers Animation. Do I like the movie? Can I recommend it to you? Is it a faithful enough representation of the well-loved characters of Superman, Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, the Parasite, Lobo, and the Martian Manhunter? Well, stick around and hear my review because I've got a few things to say about it, and I'm really sorry. I'm terrible at doing reviews that are completely spoiler-free, so you've been warned. There may be, probably will be, spoilers in this video. So to start with, the basic visual style of this film, in my opinion, is a step above the previous DC animated film universe, in that there is no point when I'm watching this DC animated feature where I'm looking at it going, the animation looks kind of weird there, or the proportions look funny, or it looks like they didn't really give it 100% with this particular scene or that particular piece of animation. The entire film, the entire way through, looks like top grade, top quality animation. I know some of you folks out there might not like the almost cell shaded look of some of the characters with the thicker lines around the outside. For me, that is one of the things that draws me in. It draws attention to the characters. I happen to like that. That was one of the things that I thought made it a cut above the previous DC animated universe. The artistic style in general for the film is very classic looking, while also looking a little bit more modern. As for the story itself, it's simple enough that it doesn't take rocket scientists to follow it, but it also does have some fairly large topics, that of xenophobia and fear of the unknown. It deals with jealousy. It deals with, especially with Clark, it deals with being unsure of yourself and taking steps out into the unknown in good faith and in hope, and hoping for good things to come from that. I'm trying really hard not to wreck the movie. The time frame for this movie, we have a young Clark Kent who isn't even a reporter at the Daily Planet. He is just an intern. He is, at this point, Coffee Clark. And he's hoping to break into reporting at the Daily Planet and not just be an intern. And throughout the course of the movie, we see that little piece of Clark's character develop. While at the same time, he goes from being farm boy Clark, who had no idea, really, who he was or where he got his powers from. He only knows that he is an alien at this point. He goes from that to somebody who is more sure of themselves and settles into his role as Earth's protector, understands where he gets his powers from, where he comes from, and it's a really nice character development. But throughout the whole movie, we don't lose sight that Clark is Clark. And in this movie, Superman is Clark first, who then becomes Superman. And really, Superman in this movie is an extension of who he is as Clark. They really humanified Superman in this movie, which is fantastic because we all know that Superman lives as a human being just with powers for a long time until he even finds out he's an alien. And then when he does find out he's an alien, he doesn't even find out right away in most histories that he's from Krypton. It takes a little bit of time for him to learn all that stuff and gather the information needed to understand himself and where he comes from, and that he's the last survivor of the dead planet Krypton. We see a Clark who begins hopeful yet vulnerable, who builds up his confidence and builds up the idea that he can contribute and that he does have something to offer and that he does have a place in this world. The story is also coherent enough in that event leads to event leads to event, which is what you want in a story. You want the proper amount of cause and effect, which carries the story, which carries the plot of the story forward. And we do see that with this movie when we go from Rocket to Lobo to Parasite to the very end of the movie. And as for Lobo, his appearances in this film, every single time he is in this movie in any scene, he steals the show for every frame that he's in. He even has a gun that shoots knives. A knife gun. But he's altogether Lobo. He's consistent with how most of us know the character to be. He's loud, he's cocky, he's fun. Lobo doesn't take very many things too seriously, except for bounty hunting. He does take that very seriously, but other than that, he's just so much fun to watch every time he's on screen. And arguably for me, Lobo was probably my favorite part of the movie. Like, I would totally watch a Lobo TV show where every single episode he was out in space bounty hunting a different villain, a different creature, a different whatever. It doesn't have to be a villain that Lobo's bounty hunting. He's just a guy that's paid to bring people in, and he doesn't care who it is. I think that would be entirely entertaining and awesome. And as to the character of Parasite, the character starts off in such a way that he's not yet Parasite, and we're actually forced to care about the character a little bit more, because we see him as just a man before the unfortunate events that lead to the creation of the energy-sucking Parasite. And it's his humanity before, while he is just a man, that Superman is able to tap into at the end of the movie and affect the outcome of the final events of the film. In other words, though Parasite is one of the antagonists of the film, in the same way that Lobo is an antagonist in the film, they're not, either of them, the true antagonist of the film. And I don't feel like it's a spoiler to tell you that because Lex Luthor is in this movie, it's obvious that Luthor ends up being the main antagonist of the film. I'll just leave that one there. Lex Luthor's character, I feel, is executed perfectly. He is that sly, rich, egotistical, megalomaniac weasel that we all know and love him to be. Now, to answer the question as to whether or not I believe this is going to be a standalone Superman movie or whether it's going to be connected to the rest of a coherent, cohesive animated universe at large, at this point, I know there are people who feel like this is a standalone. Maybe you know something I don't, but at this point, I'm still not convinced of that. For the fact that not only when they ended the past DC animated universe by having the Flash literally wipe the slate clean, signifying blank pages again to write another universe, and also the fact that if they were starting a new universe, why wouldn't they start it with a Superman movie? I feel like that just makes the most sense since, let's face it, DC Comics' first superhero that's even responsible for the creation of Batman is Superman. So to me, that just makes sense. Aside from that, let's look at the fact that the Martian Manhunter and the Batman are both in this movie, but in very, very different roles. Martian Manhunter's role in this movie is actually one that furthers the plot. He serves a purpose. He's an alien like Superman, and he furthers the plot line of people being afraid of aliens and the xenophobia that comes with the fear of the unknown. Meanwhile, Batman, who was also mentioned in this movie, really didn't have to be in this movie at all. They could have actually cut his scenes out of the movie, and it would have made absolutely no difference. So that tells me the inclusion of Batman into this movie is something that they've inserted in that one photograph. They've inserted him in there to kind of tell you, yeah, he exists in this universe. And so I have hope that the next film will be an animated Batman feature in this universe. I feel like the inclusion of that one photograph of the Batman up on the rooftop shooting his grappling hook is something that was put there specifically to tease us for what is to come in the DC animated universe. Again, I don't know for sure. I'm wrong about things sometimes. Sometimes I'm wrong more often than I'm right. But at this point, I'm still not convinced that this is a standalone film. For those reasons. So without spoiling too much more for you, I think that you will absolutely enjoy this movie. I think you will enjoy the character development, and it's really interesting to see the development of not only Clark and Lois and the Martian Manhunter, but of the Parasite as well. I really like his little story arc in there, from beginning all the way till end, and this movie, in my opinion, the way that Superman ends up saving the day really is so poetic, and it's perfect for a Superman movie. Let's just say Superman in this movie may not actually end up winning with brawn, but with his heart instead. Which is what you want from a Superman movie, isn't it? So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I absolutely enjoyed the movie. I highly recommend it to you if you're a DC fan, a Superman fan. I highly recommend that you check this one out. It is a fantastic entertaining, heartwarming movie that if you've wanted a Superman movie to be something that makes you feel good after watching it, something that makes you feel like the writers understand the character, then I feel like this might be something for you. But I'll just leave it there, and I will see you next time with the next one. Have yourself a super awesome, fantastic DC day, and take care.